Okay, so continuing from where we last left off, we built our 3D model. Now we want to get it critiqued, evaluate. We're going to put it in front of a variety of people, or it could just be one other person. Now, what you want to do is somehow communicate to them where you are currently. These critiques could be done via 3D model, 2D sketch, or the 2D rendering, I should say. And you might have a variety of people. It may be sitting in a meeting room with some engineers and some designers. It could be firing off an email for feedback, variety of ways. The main thing is your primary job, many times, especially if you're the person that's doing the design and leading it, is to capture the design criteria or the design critique. Um, if you're sitting in a meeting and people are firing changes back and forth, um, it's not necessarily always, um, you're not necessarily able to always do the final design in that meeting. Um, it may be capture notes to do refinements and work out the sketches later, or to work out some of the details. It all depends on what the meeting is. So, at the heart of it, I'll be honest with you, sometimes this process can be messy. And you can see that what I did was simulate a variety of changes that I wanted to make, or that I was told I needed to make. And you can see a couple key things that I've done or tried to do while capturing this information from whoever was giving it to me. Um, I tried to number each item as it came up. I also tried to give a reason why we're doing it. So being moved to the back of for engineering structure, and then what we were going to do. So we're going to move the supports to the rear at 90-degree angle. Um, we're going to add stability to the base. Doesn't mean that this is the final what we're going to do, um, but it's good just to capture a quick sketch so that it's not just text, which leaves room for interpretation. It's not just a sketch, which doesn't explain everything. The two go hand in hand, and it's just to help remember things when it comes time for you to do the model. Or maybe somebody else is going to take over this stage of the project. You've got another project to work on, a variety of reasons. You always want to make sure that if someone needs to help you, support you, that you dive in and they can um, clearly see where you're at. It also helps that when you come down the road, someone says, oh, hey, let's move these outward and put them at a 45-degree angle. You want to have a list of why you made these changes, because it could be as simple as, oh, let me see why we didn't do that, or why we changed it from that. Hey, engineering felt that we needed to have more stability. We made the modifications to the base, and we changed the styling to match this. It helps so that you're not going back and forth and doing repetitive changes. Um, Now you can also see, variety of sketches could be quick and simple, and like I say, the immediate role to do is capture the information. Now, very messy, very dirty. You may go back and do some quick cleaned up sketches. They may ask you to, explore what that handle shape could look like, variety of things. Um, for this demo, we're somewhat lucky because we already have a predefined product on what it's going to look like in the end. So these changes that you see are ones that I specifically did not do in the existing model just so that I can make changes down the road. Now, organization of thoughts. For me, is extremely important because it helps me to make sure that I get things done and I can check them off. You can see that this page is kind of messy. I've worked with a lot of engineers, a lot of project managers, and their structure of how to capture data, how to make changes, really resonates with me and has always helped me to have my projects run smoother. As a designer, if you can show that your projects run smoothly, there's not rework, there's not unnecessary changes. It just helps you. It gives you a lot more credibility. So what I do is I take all this information, and you could create it in a Word document, you could create it on a cleaner piece of paper, whatever you want to do. But I will capture this information into written form. Then I will, number it, say what it is, what the area is that I'm working on, what is this description, potentially why am I doing it, and then I create a good little, green or red for completed or pending. And it doesn't necessarily mean that I have to go in order of 1, 2, 3, 4. That's just how I happen to capture it in the critique and the review. It may be that in the way you've built your model, if you started at the bottom, that changing the base might be the easiest. So why not start there? No real reason why to start there or stop there. It's more about, I could hand this off to someone if they ask where we're in the project. I can say, hey, I've got 6 of the 8 changes done. The last 2 are probably going to take me a couple hours, whatever it may be. So with that said, what then I would do is I would dive in and open up my model and start the changes to the CAD. So the next step we'll do is we'll jump into the CAD and start making these changes, and I will walk you through how I do it, because a lot of this can be dependent on how your structure tree is set up and whether or not it's easy to change and have everything update, or if you did something that was difficult. If something breaks, we'll walk through how to fix that, what we could have done differently in order to make the updates easier. Because when you make a change, the more parts that can update easily, the faster you can go. So you're not going back and having to rebuild other areas where you're not making the change. So, excellent. We will talk soon.